Good afternoon, a pleasant afternoon to you. I am Dr. Elena Sherwood, and I'm here for my usual weekly live relationship advice, or relationship Q&A, which is not to be mistaken for therapy because I am no longer a therapist and I wouldn't be giving actual therapy just like that anyway. So anyway, welcome. I have been on YouTube for several years now, and I specialize in relationship dynamics. And my content is circled around or centered around relationship survival mode. So if this is the first time we're meeting, hello, I'm glad you're here. I am in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. And I would love to hear, if you're catching this on a replay, where I'm finding you today. So it is quite a gray, cloudy, a little bit kind of gloomy noon hour here. It's noon Eastern, for those of you who are curious. And so, it's a great time to spend some time with you, talking out some big, important topics. So today I'm going to talk about three things. And of course, if you are here, feel free to, if you're catching this on a replay, feel free to post, first of all, where I'm finding you. And second, if you have any particular questions I can answer, I would love to do that. Be clear about what your questions are, though, because sometimes people will say, that question you had, number one, it's a no. And these lives can go easily a half hour, and I wouldn't know. It's possible that I've asked several questions by the time the live signs off. So anyway, welcome. Okay, so the one I'm going to answer, the first thing I'm going to answer, this is more like a comment and more a response to my video called Ask Him This, Then Watch What Happens. And it's to do with the respect test. And somebody commented this. The fourth reaction is he deliberately increases the behavior you asked him to stop, just to spite you. And there were several people who were feeling this. So I felt like I really wanted to talk about that today. I'm glad that people are talking about how bad it can be sometimes. And my content cannot possibly cover every single nuance. So I'm really glad that somebody said, in some situations, when I tell my partner, my husband, my special other to stop doing something, they purposely do it more. Let me be very clear. I consider that emotionally abusive. I consider that disrespectful. I do consider that crossing way beyond what you are being allowed and disregarding your partner completely. I would worry about situations like that. I would worry about, is it even deeper? This is just the stuff that this person is able to talk about their pain. So I would worry about the bigger picture to which this little micro dynamic is showing itself. Please do not minimize that. Don't think it's really not a big deal. It's just this tiny little thing. It's not like he intentionally tries to harm me. If that's happening, then yeah, he is. I almost want to give people permission to really listen to their guts and call things like they are. I just did a post on, it was on my community post because, I believe that I'm just going to read it out really quickly because it's the most asked question I'm getting these days is simple. Should I stay or should I go? And here's what I'm driven to share with you. No one tells us that there's no checklist for making that decision. The world would love it if people like me in a space like this would give you like a checklist of five things and then check this off and then no. Unfortunately, We are not that powerful. But the truth is, the answer is never out there. It starts with one thing, with being honest with yourself. And you might think, well, what does that even look like? That means maybe finally admitting to yourself, I am deeply unhappy here. And maybe you need to figure out why you're deeply unhappy. Maybe it is, in fact, a relationship, the marriage, the long-term thing, but maybe it's a situational thing. Maybe it's a whole pile of things that never, maybe it's some internal healing, but sometimes admitting right away, just like, I'm not happy. And that's okay. That's being honest. You are describing my long marriage. I'm finally preparing to leave. It is scary. However, I won't survive this relationship. Thanks so much for saying these exact words I'm living. Too many people are suffering in the quiet spaces of their lives. Maybe they're weeping in the kitchen. I know when I've had some rough moments, it's usually over a bowl of cereal, or maybe it's while I'm in the shower. And sometimes what we really got to do is we just got to talk about it and figure out, where are the areas that really need the attention. Okay, this is very important. I really want to say this. If you stay for the right reasons, not because it's comfortable, but because you've found your voice, because you've stopped shrinking yourself to make it work. If you go, don't do it thinking you'll escape the parts of you that are scared to be vulnerable and who might tend to push love away. That's a real thing. We all do that. We all do that. And if we're not honest about it, we carry it with us or let it convince us to never love again. So my best advice, don't lie to yourself and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that's what I really wanted to say to everybody today about that topic. Okay, next thing I'm going to talk about. Again, thank you for being here. If you have any questions, feel free to post them or just kind of comment or let me know where I'm finding you. For those just coming in, I'm in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, which is Canada's capital. All right, the other thing is on the video I have, am I the abusive one? How to tell if your anger is reactive. In many situations, people who have been shrunken and manipulated and being told repeatedly that they're not important, if you feel that, it becomes very, very hard for you to speak up. And it's possible that you just haven't bothered to speak up because that's really scary and you might have to pay for speaking up. By the way, if you are in a physically abusive or mentally abusive relationship, please pay attention and get some help. We don't make light of that. But anyway, if you are someone who it becomes very hard to speak up. So sometimes when you do finally speak up, it's awful. It's loud. It's everywhere. It's scattered. It's screaming. It's tear-stricken, and maybe it's sobbing. And then you think, oh my God, that was awful of me. Oh my goodness, I'm emotionally abusive. I mean, but sometimes that is in fact a product of everything that has been happening to you. And so how do you tell the difference between somebody who is like that and somebody who is just mean? Intent. Your intent isn't to be mean. Your intent is to be heard. And you have been in an environment where that has not been fostered, where that has not been made safe. The people that I worry about are the people who obsess in their heads about, I wish I should have said that better. If only I could just kind of, say the more effective thing to make. No, relationships are not supposed to be overthought like that. They are supposed to be safe. They are supposed to feel like home. Home. A little personal note. I remember driving when my husband and we were fairly new together. We were very good friends coming out to that. But then, things started to happen. And, of course, we decided to take it to the next level. And I remember thinking as I'm driving, he's far away. I won't be seeing him for another while. And I remember telling myself, whether this works out or not, now I know. Now I know that this is what it's supposed to feel like. Now I know that this is what emotionally safe and being seen and valued and treasured and feeling important feels like. And I'm never, if this doesn't work out, I am never settling for anything else. Oh, whew. Okay, a little comment here. Stonewalled for days. That becomes months. And now 1+ years, and worsened when I speak up. Kindly, clearly. All angles to try to get partner to be a true partner instead of my 4th kid. Help me leave. If I could, I would, but let me tell you this. Other people have done it. Other people have left relationships just like yours, probably far worse, and probably with lesser internal or external resources. So what I want for you to really hear from me right now is there is a way to get from where you are to where you really want to be. There's a way. And maybe you can't see that right now, but that path has been traveled by many before you. And so you don't have to see it. You just need to know, you must know it exists. And that's going to look different for everybody. And what I will suggest, though, is it's very important you start to be honest with yourself and have a deep look at the things that are keeping you there. Quite likely, it's something rooted in fear. It's possible that it's not even a rational fear, but our mind doesn't care sometimes, and our hearts don't care, and our psyches don't care that it doesn't make sense, because that's how we feel. But sometimes we just need to say it out loud. All these things we're scared will happen if we do this, and that's sometimes where the clarity comes. I remember it happens quite a bit in my session, and I said, so what's keeping you there? Well, I really don't want to lose my furniture. This is really comfortable. This is really kind of what I've known. I know it's not just the furniture, it's the feel of this thing, that a life you've built. Okay, well, let's talk about that. Can you bring the furniture with you? Is furniture replaceable? Yes, it is. And that's just pain that you have over the loss. Granted, that's expected. That will happen. There is sadness with every loss, with everything that we toss away. Here's a beautiful phone that I have. It's not serving me very well anymore. And so it's had to become my secondary. My primary one is the one I'm talking at you now. This is not going to last much longer. And I'm very sad because it has gotten me through. It has helped me be where I am in all of the things. And I'm really sad I'm going to lose it. And it's a phone. Imagine if it's somebody who has been in my life. I have had many losses and deep losses, and that sucks. But it's not an excuse, and it's not a reason to sacrifice my entire existence and my future. Okay, I have one more. And again, if you have any, thank you. FYI, sole provider in 25 years marriage. Yeah, okay. That tells us a lot. That tells us a lot about what you are capable of doing. And so identify the fears. And maybe that's not something you can feel you could do by yourself. Maybe that's something you could do with a very good friend or a complete stranger or whatever. But, get to the bottom of what those fears are. That's where I would start. That's where I encourage anybody to start, by friends, family, anybody. Okay. How do I know when enough is enough? This is the last topic I'm going to talk about, but feel free to put your comments. How do I know when enough is enough? And many women have stayed 10 years, 25 years, even 52 years afraid to leave. Wow, that ties right into everything I just said. The problem isn't that we don't think it's enough. The problem is sometimes we do not believe we deserve better. It sometimes is as simple as that. That sometimes we convince ourselves that, those people who are at peace, those people, they're really happy in their own space, and they're happy in their selves, and they're walking around like, they're like with this kind of confidence and this self-assuredness and this little lightness and this peace, and there's a lot of light behind their eyes. That's just for special people. Really? Really? No, it's for everyone. Everyone deserves that. And I might be a little romantic in my beliefs, but I also believe I would not be doing this work that I do if I didn't believe that all of us can have that in some way, in the version that is best for us. So I believe that when people choose not to leave, sometimes it's a right now. Sometimes it is in an overthinking a plan and making it perfect, but maybe you don't need a perfect plan, you just need a good enough one. And maybe you need an actual someone to help you come up with a literal escape plan. And so that is what I believe keeps people. Sometimes it's this deep belief that I cannot, that's not really meant for me. And sometimes it is just this overwhelmed, like I don't even know where to start. And some of my roughest moments in my marriage, I've been married 33 years this May, and together a couple of years from now, there were a few, and so I don't think there's a person out there who hasn't in some way thought, if I had to get out, if I had to start another life, how would I do it? And I actually thought, well, I'm not going back to where my parents were because, things were just kind of whatever. Oh, well, my friend lives in this city. I would need some support if I did. So she would help me out. And, I have this other family relative who could probably take me in and the kids. And, it's okay. But sometimes we just don't let ourselves. Now, that little fantasy planning I had is all I needed to say, okay, Elena, you have a choice. You have a choice. Maybe you don't see the options, maybe you do, but I would love for you to just simply know they are there. I once made a comment to a very good friend of mine where she said, well, I can't afford a down payment right now on a house. And I said, well, what if happiness comes in an air mattress in a basement apartment? You could feel like a rich queen in a place that is entirely yours outside of this kind of crap that's around you. And then another lady once commented saying to me, home is a pull-out couch in my daughter's office for now, until I can figure everything else out. So this is what I'm saying. Sometimes what you really need is, A, to believe that you deserve it, and B, to simply acknowledge that a plan exists. I just need to find it. Whew, a little bit of soapboxing for me today, so thank you for your patience. If you have any questions, now is the time. If there's anything else, I know it could get tough out there. And I think the other thing we tend to forget is, one of the things I try to do is phrase my content in a way that I never want us to expect perfection of our partners and of ourselves. That is absolute. Yes. But we want to look for effort, and I mean real effort, concerted effort. Effort, as they say, a check you can take to the bank, for those of us old schoolers who remember what checks are, And so that's what I'm saying. From a perspective of softness and understanding, and sometimes we need the harder line to say, this is not okay to me. Thank you for listening. If you haven't followed me or subscribed, now is an excellent time. Clarity is what I do. And so I would love to, I will be back again on my usual spot, Thursdays, noon. If you're catching this on a replay, please leave a little, either a little heart, tell me where you were, or leave a question if you have it, a detailed question if you can. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all the hearts. I am honored that you spent some very valuable time of yours with me. These are not easy conversations. I'm honored that you sat with me through them, and I will see you again next week. Take care.